That already, yeah. I'm gonna go to my house. I'm gonna go where I know my kids is at, where I know my mama at, where I know my wife who don't like me right now, but it's all right. Because if we're gonna die, we're gonna figure it out.
I'm never gonna be in a relationship. I don't care who you are, what you have, what you've accomplished in life, where I'm not being respected.
Human being, I make mistakes as a human being. I am selfish as a human being. I have desires, and you know what I'm saying. I wasn't always being the kind of husband that you're supposed to be. That's just is what that is. You know, I've cheated. I've done things that husbands ain't supposed to do. Yeah. And that's what eventually led to us talking about
Neyo might sing about being so sick of love songs, but right now, the world is sick of him. The R&B star is facing explosive new accusations from his ex-wife, Crystal, who claims he's not only been juggling multiple girlfriends, but allegedly controlling, abusive, and downright manipulative behind scenes. And now, a leaked video has surfaced that could shatter the smooth, gentleman image Neyo has spent years perfecting. Fans are furious. The internet is in chaos. And every new detail makes this scandal sound more like a Lifetime movie than real life. But trust me, it gets darker. Because what Crystal revealed about Neyo's relationships, his past with exes, and the disturbing pattern that's emerging will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about him. Neyo once said, "As a human being, I make mistakes. I'm selfish. I have desires. I wasn't always the kind of husband I was supposed to be. I've cheated." Those were his own words. Calm, almost reflective, as if confessing to a harmless flaw instead of a pattern. But now, his ex-wife Crystal is calling that little speech nothing more than damage control. Because according to her, Neyo's so-called mistakes go way deeper than infidelity. She says behind the smooth R&B image and the charming smile is a man who's been emotionally abusive, manipulative, and dangerously controlling. Not just toward her, but toward the women he's currently seeing. And when I say women, I mean plural. 4 of them. Crystal didn't just drop vague hints or bitter ex-wife posts. She came with receipts, screenshots, stories, and what fans are now calling the most disturbing leak yet. A video that allegedly shows violent behavior during one of Neyo's relationships. It's the kind of footage that makes you pause and wonder how far this gentleman persona has strayed from reality. Social media exploded overnight. His fans, the same ones who defended him after the divorce, are now demanding answers, and the general consensus is clear. This time, Neyo can't sing his way out of it. But here's where things get even messier. While the world thought Neyo had settled into a peaceful, grown man chapter, Crystal says he's actually been living a double life that rivals any reality show. Apparently, Neyo's been publicly dating not 1, not 2, not even 3, but 4 different women. Their names? Christina, Ariel, Monet, and Brie. And together, they've been branded online as his sister circle, a kind of polyamorous setup where everyone supposedly knows their role and no one's getting hurt. At least, that's how it looked on Instagram. Coordinated outfits, smiling vacation photos, birthday tributes with captions about love in all forms. It was giving modern love, confidence, empowerment. But Crystal says the truth behind those perfectly curated pictures is something entirely different. She claims Neyo wasn't empowering these women. He was allegedly controlling them. Behind closed doors, the romance turned into routine manipulation. He'd allegedly pit them against each other, rewarding loyalty 1 minute and punishing independence the next. One girlfriend gets affection while another gets silent treatment. Then the roles reverse just to keep everyone off balance. It's a psychological loop that Crystal says she recognizes all too well. Because according to her, that's exactly how Neyo treated her before their marriage fell apart. Fans are starting to piece it together. How a man who once sang about respecting women could simultaneously build a mini harem built on secrecy, power, and control. And the more Crystal reveals, the less this looks like consensual polyamory, and the more it sounds like manipulation dressed up as freedom. What looked like empowerment on Instagram, Crystal says, was actually emotional captivity in real life. When Crystal first spoke out, people thought she was just venting, the heartbroken ex-wife of a famous man trying to make sense of betrayal. But that perception changed the moment she started backing up her words with evidence. What began as a few cryptic posts quickly turned into a full-blown exposé, complete with screenshots, bruised photos, and stories that painted Neyo as far more than a flawed husband. In her words, he was a man who knew how to break you down quietly, with charm, guilt, and manipulation so subtle that by the time you realized what was happening, you'd already lost yourself. Crystal claimed that the so-called sister wives weren't living in harmony at all. They were competing for survival. She said Neyo allegedly used jealousy as a weapon, keeping all 4 women in a constant state of rivalry. If one disobeyed him or showed too much independence, he'd withdraw affection and turn his attention to another, making sure no one ever felt secure enough to leave. According to Crystal, this was his way of maintaining control, making every woman feel like she was replaceable, but still desperate to prove her loyalty. Then came the visuals. The first leak hit the internet like a lightning strike. A short, shaky clip that allegedly showed a heated argument between Neyo and one of his girlfriends. The sound is muffled, but what's visible is enough to make anyone uneasy. A sudden movement, a scream, then the camera drops. Within hours, fans had slowed it down, enhanced it, analyzed every frame, and the theories started flying. Was that really Neyo? Was it staged? Or was this the moment Crystal had been warning everyone about? But it didn't stop there. Crystal followed up with photos, images that appeared to show one of the women, Christina, with bruises across her face and arms. The injuries looked fresh, and Crystal claimed they were the direct result of Neyo losing control. Her caption was short but chilling. "This is what loving him looks like when the cameras are off." The post went viral instantly. Within minutes, hashtags like #CancelNeyo and #ProtectWomen started trending across X and Instagram. Fans who once defended him were now demanding accountability, while others accused Crystal of trying to destroy his image out of revenge. That's when Neyo's team fired back. His publicist released a statement calling Crystal's allegations outrageous fabrications and accused her of launching a smear campaign to extort money. According to his camp, Crystal was a bitter ex who couldn't move on and was now trying to blackmail Neyo with doctor content and false abuse narratives. They claimed she had been shopping around the video to gossip outlets, threatening to release it unless he met certain financial demands. But Crystal didn't back down. She doubled down. She said the truth didn't need to be sold. It needed to be seen. And she insisted the footage was real, unedited, and part of a long pattern of behavior she'd endured herself during their marriage. "He hides behind music," she wrote. "He hides behind his image. But you can't auto-tune the truth." The internet split in two. Half the fans clung to the image of Neyo as a misunderstood artist, while the other half saw him as another manipulative celebrity using fame to mask his darkness. And in the middle of it all was that one haunting video clip, the one nobody could stop talking about, replaying and dissecting frame by frame, a digital scar on a man who built his career on love songs. If you really want to understand why Crystal's story hit so hard, you have to go back to where Neyo's pattern first began. Long before the polyamory headlines and the viral videos, there was another woman who thought she'd found forever with him, Minetta Shaw. She stood by Neyo through the come-up, before the Grammys, before the suits, before the fame turned him into an R&B icon. Together, they built a life, had 2 children, and planned a future that looked solid from the outside. But behind closed doors, that love story was already showing cracks. Minetta once believed Neyo was her partner, her protector, her best friend. Instead, he became her biggest heartbreak. It started small, missed calls, unexplained absences, excuses that didn't add up. But then came the conversation that would change her life forever. Neyo told her he didn't want any more kids. He said their family was complete, and to prove their commitment, he convinced her to get her tubes tied. And because she loved him, because she trusted him, she did it. She let him make a permanent decision about her body, all in the name of loyalty. But here's where the heartbreak turns cruel. Not long after that, Neyo left her. And not just left. He moved on, started new relationships, and went on to have more children. Imagine realizing the man who swore he was done having kids is now out there creating the family he told you couldn't have. He told her Miss Independent, then made sure she couldn't be one. That betrayal broke something in Minetta. Years later, she admitted that it took everything in her to forgive herself, not for trusting him, but for believing that his love was ever real. And that story? It sounds eerily familiar, because when Crystal came along, she was warned. People told her, you lose them how you get them. But like so many women before her, she believed she'd be the one to change him. Crystal met Neyo when he was still with Minetta. At the time, she was young, in love, and swept up by the fantasy of being chosen by a star. When their relationship became public, fans accused her of being the side chick who got upgraded to wife. And maybe, in a way, she did. Neyo charmed her, promised her loyalty, and painted a picture of redemption. They got married, had 3 beautiful children, and even renewed their vows in 2022 in a lavish ceremony that looked like a fairy tale. For a moment, it seemed like Neyo had finally grown up, learned from his mistakes, and settled into the role of a devoted husband and father. But behind that picture-perfect image, Crystal says the same old Neyo was still there, the same man Minetta had once cried over. The red flag she ignored in the beginning became her reality years later. The long nights, the secret trips, the women calling her phone, it was déjà vu. Then came the final betrayal. Crystal discovered that while she was at home raising their children, Neyo was out fathering another baby with someone else. The moment she found out, she filed for divorce, publicly exposing him for years of lies, infidelity, and deceit. Her post hit the internet like a thunderclap. 8 years of lies and deception, she wrote. 8 years of unknowingly sharing my life and husband with numerous women who sell their bodies to him unprotected. Every last one of them. To ask me to stay and accept it is absolutely insane. The mentality of a narcissist. It wasn't just a statement. It was a woman's heartbreak written in real time. And how did Neyo respond? Not with remorse. Not with accountability. He liked her post. He literally liked it. Then followed up with a PR-friendly tweet asking for privacy for the sake of our children. Privacy after years of public disrespect. It was the kind of response that told the world exactly who he was, a man more worried about his image than the damage he left behind. From Minetta to Crystal, the stories line up like verses in one long song. Same rhythm, same heartbreak, different woman. One gave up her ability to have children for him. The other gave up her peace. Both ended up broken by a man who built a career off of love ballads, but couldn't live up to the lyrics he wrote. Neyo said he wanted a good man's heart, but over time, it started to sound like that heart was never good to begin with. And now, with new women stepping forward and evidence piling up, it's hard not to see a pattern. One that's been playing out quietly for years while the music kept everyone distracted. Because if every woman tells the same story, at what point do we stop calling it coincidence and start calling it character? Just when everyone thought the chaos had peaked, it didn't. Because that's when she came forward. Her name? Saad Bagnaris. For months, her name floated through fan comments, whispers in blogs, and cryptic subtweets. But when Saad finally broke her silence, the internet stopped cold. She wasn't just another fling. She was the woman Crystal had been warning everyone about. Saad claimed she'd been in an on and off relationship with Neyo for years while he was still married. And not only that, she said she had his baby. But her story didn't sound like a casual affair. It sounded darker. According to Saad, Neyo wasn't just cheating, he was collecting women. She called him Diddy Jr., saying he was obsessed with control, sex parties, and what she described as freak-off behavior. Her words painted a picture that made fans instantly uncomfortable, allegations of manipulation, power dynamics, and situations that blurred the line between consent and coercion. In her interview, Saad said Neyo would fly her out, shower her with gifts, promise love, but the moment she questioned anything, the affection vanished. She described him as a man who wanted ownership, not intimacy. She said he used money as a leash, affection as bait, and guilt as punishment. He knows exactly how to make you think you're special, she said. Then the next morning, you realize you're just one of many. The real kicker? Saad revealed she wasn't the only one. She claimed that 2 other women, both connected to Neyo during his so-called poly phase, had experienced similar manipulation. One allegedly got pregnant, and according to Saad, Neyo pressured her to handle it quietly. Another claimed he recorded their private moments without clear consent, something that left fans horrified once the allegations surfaced. But while Saad was speaking her truth, Neyo was sitting in a podcast studio doing what he does best, turning scandal into sympathy. He sat there calm, collected, talking about being a flawed human. He said he's made mistakes, that he's trying to do better, that he never meant to hurt anyone. But the tone? It was soft, polished, rehearsed, a PR redemption arc in real time. And that's where fans drew the line. Because while Neyo was out here repackaging trauma as self-awareness, Saad and Crystal were still out here, showing receipts, bruises, and tears. The internet couldn't ignore the contrast anymore. The man who sang about love was being accused of breaking people behind the scenes. One fan summed it up perfectly. Neyo wants to be seen as self-aware, but what he really is self-serving. The backlash hit like a tidal wave. Overnight, Neyo went from the gentleman to the villain. The same fans who used a slow dance to So Sick were now dragging him across every platform imaginable. On TikTok, creators stitched his podcast clip with Crystal's posts side by side, calling out the hypocrisy. On X, one viral tweet read, "He said he's only human. Yeah, but humans don't have 4 girlfriends, 2 secret babies, and a trail of trauma." Memes flooded the timeline. One showed Neyo's album cover with the caption, "Because of you, I got trust issues." Another one, he said she got her own, but apparently he got everyone. Even pop culture commentators started weighing in. Some compared him to Diddy, saying the freak-off culture was deeper than people thought, that there's an entire network of R&B men hiding behind charm and vulnerability. Others pointed out the disturbing pattern. Minetta, Crystal saw different eras, same pain. And what hurt fans the most wasn't just the cheating, it was the illusion. For years, Neyo branded himself as the man who respected women. The gentleman of R&B, the one who wrote love songs for the ladies while others objectified them. To see that image crumble, with receipts, leaked footage, and testimony, felt like a betrayal of everything his music represented. One fan said it best, "He made us believe in love." Turns out, he was just good at performing it. Now, his career stands at a crossroads. Sponsorships have gone silent. His latest shows are reportedly struggling with attendance. Radio hosts are quietly removing him from throwback love song playlists. And the once beloved songwriter who penned hits for Beyoncé and Rihanna is now trending for all the wrong reasons. This isn't just a bad look, it's a career implosion. Because the truth is, you can't serenade your way out of scandal forever. And this time, no melody, no apology, and no flawed human speech can drown out the sound of the women who finally decided to sing back. At the start of this story, Neyo sat in that podcast chair and said, "As a human being, I make mistakes." He said it softly, like a confession, like humility wrapped in melody. But after everything we've seen, after Minetta, Crystal, Saad, and the trail of women left behind, it's hard to keep calling it a mistake. Because when the same mistake keeps happening, it's no longer human. It's a habit, a pattern, a legacy of harm hiding behind smooth lyrics and sharp suits. And now, that image, a gentleman of R&B, is cracking. Sources close to Crystal say she's not done. More evidence may still be coming. And if those rumors of a lawsuit or federal involvement turn out to be true, this story isn't over. It's just getting started. The world fell in love with Neyo's voice. But this time, it's the silence after the song that's haunting everyone the most.